Holidays have almost always, been a fun addition to Animal Crossing and one of the main draws to keep players coming back. It's that time of the year where we're jam-packed with holidays, from Halloween to the Harvest Festival to Toy Day to New Year's. We've got some fun events to experience in the coming months. It's exciting! Right now, my head is only on the Harvest Festival. This holiday falls on the same day as the US Thanksgiving, which is always the fourth Thursday in November. Since we're at the beginning of November, I'm expecting some kind of Harvest Festival update to show up pretty soon. When exactly it will show up will probably rely on how extravagant the event is. We got the Halloween update at the beginning of October to give us plenty of time to properly prepare by purchasing candy, growing pumpkins, and collecting recipes. It turned out to be an amazing holiday. Even though the event itself only took about 30 minutes to finish, it was still enjoyable, and we got some cool recipes, items, and clothing from it. So what could the developers do to make the Harvest Festival live up to the previous holidays in New Horizons? First, let's look back at what the Harvest Festival has consisted of in the past. In the GameCube version, the Harvest Festival was one long game of hide-and-seek. The Wishing Well had banquet tables with some villagers and Mayor Tortimer waiting for the special guest to arrive. You're forced to run around your town looking for Franklin, who is usually hiding behind some kind of tree or building. He tells you he's convinced that Tortimer wants to eat him for dinner, which is probably accurate seeing as there is an empty main course plate, and urges you to steal the forks and knives off the table and bring them to him. The player would have to run back to the Wishing Well, grab the fork and knife, and run around town again to play another game of hide-and-seek with Franklin. Once you find him again and give him the utensils, he would give you a piece of harvest furniture in return. The player would repeat this process over and over until all the furniture pieces were collected. The villagers out and about would give you hints as to where Franklin is hiding. The Harvest Festival in City Folk wasn't much different. Tortimer wanted a bigger role in the holiday, apparently, and he was the one to hand you the fork and knife to deliver to a specific villager. Delivering the utensils to the villager would give you a hint as to where Franklin was hiding. Giving that villager's fork and knife to Franklin again resulted in the player receiving a piece of harvest furniture. The pink and purple scheme of the furniture didn't change too much from the GameCube version. New Leaf also featured the Harvest Festival. Tortimer is retired and on his island, and the player was the mayor, so Franklin didn't have to be as worried about being invited to be included as the main part of a 5-course meal. Instead, he learned how to cook. When you talked to him, he would task you with finding ingredients so he could prepare a meal for the town. I don't know what chef shows up to cook without any ingredients, but he's been hiding from Thanksgiving since the early 2000s, so we'll cut him some slack. Franklin would tell you the ingredients he needed, and it was up to you to talk to the other villagers and collect them. Sometimes the ingredients were items like fruit or mushrooms or fish that could be found around your island. Other items like flour and vinegar could only be obtained from your villagers. When talking to your neighbors who were inside their houses, they'd tell you to get a specific item, usually a fish, and they'd trade you for an ingredient and information on a secret ingredient that would go in each dish. It was important to remember what the villagers told you so that you could give Franklin all 4 correct ingredients. Each time you brought the turkey man all the ingredients for the dish, he would reward you with, you guessed it, harvest furniture. Successfully giving Franklin the correct 4 ingredients for each of the 4 courses resulted in a cornucopia as a reward. This Harvest Festival was the best by far. It required a lot of time and effort to complete everything, but it was still possible to do in a decently short amount of time, if RNG was nice to you and gave you the fish you needed. I understand that not everyone has all day to complete the holiday, but I want something that takes me more than a few minutes to be done with. I think the New Leaf version did a good job at extending the holiday to be a bit longer than most. What could the Harvest Festival in New Horizons feature? If the holiday stays the same as past games, I hope they stick to the New Leaf formula rather than just hide and seek. It seems like a lot of a singular, boring, tedious task, while the New Leaf Harvest Festival tediousness was spread out over a bunch of different tasks. Changing it up is super important. Slate data mine spoiler! Skip to the timestamp if you don't want anything to do with it. Okay. Originally, I thought the Harvest Festival would include growing vegetables, but this turned out to be one of the main mechanics for October instead. Data miners have found evidence that has since been hidden about additional vegetables being added to the game. The way these vegetables were written into the code, it was assumed that the new vegetables would be able to be grown just like the pumpkins. I was hoping these were going to be food that had to be grown and given to Franklin, assuming he would continue his role in New Leaf and ask for specific ingredients to complete the meal. Though this would be tough if you happen to not be able to play during the weeks leading up to the event and didn't have time to grow any of said vegetables. Most events do have anti-softlock options. For example, if you forgot to purchase a costume or candy during the month of October, the game allows you to talk to Jack to get a costume and talk to the villagers on their houses to receive candy. I'm hoping vegetables will still be included somehow, but the fact that we haven't heard anything about a Harvest Festival update makes me think that it's not going to require multiple days or weeks of growing. So thinking my vegetables for Thanksgiving dinner idea might be impossible. If the developers are going to stick to what they've done in the past, I hope they decide to stick with the ways of New Leaf. It was a refreshing change from the constant hide and seek of the original and City Folk. Holidays that we've seen so far in New Horizons have been pretty similar, but they've always had a slight twist. Bunny Day changed it up by having you collect as many eggs as possible to craft with them or trade them to get exclusive Bunny Day items rather than eating the eggs and exchanging prize tickets like in New Leaf. Halloween was very similar to New Leaf, but removed the mechanic where the player has to figure out what a specific villager is afraid of, and they just let you scare everyone as Jack if you want to. They also added these adorable reactions! During past Harvest Festivals, we never sat down with our villagers. It's always just oh cool, thanks for the food, here's some harvest furniture. And that's it. I want to sit down with my neighbors and have Thanksgiving, even if it's a quick 5-second cutscene. There's never any finale to the holiday. We spent the time in New Leaf sourcing all the ingredients to do little yay when cooking, which was, cool, but then the Harvest Festival was just over. I also want some cool Harvest Festival furniture or some kind of Thanksgiving-y themed items available to us throughout November, like how we got spooky furniture before Halloween. It was easy to get into the Halloween spirit by placing jack-o'-lanterns all over my island. I could appreciate the holiday for a bit longer than just one day. I want this for Thanksgiving. But the fact that we haven't heard anything about an update yet makes me think I'll just have to deal with the fall recipes that have yet to come. Which is totally fine, I'm just pretty furniture greedy and I want more. What would you want to see for the Harvest Festival? I could do with a slight change up with the design of the holiday furniture. It's pretty much been the same since GameCube. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye! It's exciting! That's my life, getting excited over holidays in Animal Crossing. Okay.